This is the Harry Loomis Show.
Welcome back to the Harry Loomis Show. Yesterday, we finished up the race at Michigan, the Firekeepers Casino 400. Started on Sunday, a little bit too late, and got rained out. Had to start it on Monday, which I want to know your guys' thoughts on that. In my opinion, NASCAR didn't really have much of a choice. I know a lot of people want earlier start times, but it's obviously a ratings thing. The later in the afternoon, the better the ratings are. But I think it was Pete Pistone that brought up the really good point that if the race is on USA, you're not really going to have great ratings to begin with because everyone doesn't have that. So maybe that's a day or that's a race that you could start earlier. I want to know what you guys think. I go back and forth. I hear both sides of the argument, but the race was a pretty good one, honestly. A good bit of carnage late in stage two. Kyle Larson got loose in front of the crowd and caused a big wreck. Took out guys like Briscoe, Busher, although he recovered, Bell, Logano, Bubba Wallace, who looked like he might have had race winning speed, but that was not meant to be after that accident. That was a tough break for him, given that he's right on the playoff cut line. That was the big wreck. Corey LaJoy flipped after contact with Noah Gragson, his second flip of the year. And I think that's something NASCAR needs to look into. There were two flips this weekend. One was Kyle Sieg in the last lap of the Xfinity race, and then LaJoy. LaJoy went over way too easily. Um, One of the hood flaps did deploy, which is a good thing. That's the hood flaps did not deploy on Kyle Sieg. That's why he went over. Another thing they need to look at, but I think it's probably has to do with the bottom of the car. I think Kenny Wallace brought up a good point that it's pretty flat, so there's no air, there's nowhere for air to go, so it just shoots the car straight up. That car should not have flipped over. That's a regular spin out in the Gen 6 car, in my opinion, and he continues onward. I saw comparisons of other flips from the 2019 era ish, and the difference is all those cars had contact. They got hit going down. LaJoy, for the most part, kind of spun out on his own. He didn't have another car full on coming his way. I don't think that should have been a flip in any stretch. I think that could have just been, you spin out, maybe you have a flat tire, maybe you lose a lap, but you recover and you finish 26th or something along those lines, as opposed to the 32nd place finish that LaJoy got. It was a tough break for him. But the race came down to guys like Reddick, Byron, Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, and Ty Gibbs. Um, Martin Truex Jr. was up front as well before he crashed late. It looked like it was going to be a battle between guys like Byron, Elliott, and Reddick for the win. Kyle Busch took two tires on the last pit stop and gained some track position. He wasn't going to be able to hold that. He wasn't close enough to the leaders beforehand to get a big enough lead to potentially hold on. So he got past. He ended up at about fifth. It was Reddick's race to lose with about 5 laps to go when the caution came out for Martin Truex. Kind of a ticky-tack caution. I'm not sure if I would have called that if it was just Truex getting up in the wall. I want to know what you guys think. But immediately that changed everything. So if you're Kyle Busch, you're like, okay, I'm on older tires. I might have been able to hold him off. I got a big lead. But if the caution was going to come out, the caution was going to come out. I wasn't going to win that race. So Reddick took the outside in the first restart. Byron got by him and took the lead before the caution came out for Ross Chastain spinning. Byron took the top, which I would have done. Reddick took the bottom, but Reddick won the battle on the restart and ended up winning the race, which was kind of surprising. Usually, it seems like the outside line on an even restart is the way to go, just because you're able to drive it in so much harder into turn one and two and get the good runoff and accelerate from there. But Reddick got a good push. Byron did not from Brad Keselowski. Kyle Busch tweeted asking what Keselowski was doing on that restart because it kind of just looked like a mess. It didn't look like he went right. So Tyler Reddick gets his second win of the season, the seventh of his career, and his fourth with 23XI Racing. And we're going to talk a little bit about Tyler Reddick because I've been critical of Reddick at some points this year, specifically after Nashville and Chicago. I thought he should have won both of those races and ended up with a third and second place finish. I was critical of him because I fully believe that Tyler Reddick is one of the 5 best drivers in NASCAR at minimum. But right now, if you ask, the 2020 class, rookie class was loaded with Reddick and Christopher Bell being the headliners, but Cole Custer winning the award. If you were to ask most people who's had the better career so far, you would have to go Christopher Bell's had a better career than Tyler Reddick. He's got the lead in wins 9-7. He's on a better team. He's made the championship 4 twice, and Reddick just made it to the round of 8 for the first time last year. But we are finally starting to see the Tyler Reddick that we knew he was capable of in the Xfinity Series when he had that monster 2019 season. These are his finishes in the last 11 races. Since he wrecked going for the lead with Buescher at Darlington, he has finished 4th at Charlotte, 4th at Gateway, 8th at Sonoma, 22nd in Iowa, then 6th, 3rd, 2nd, 6th, 2nd, 3rd, and a win. He has an average finish of 10.5 on the year. He has 11 top 5s, 17 top 10s, which don't just lead the Cup Series, they destroy everybody else in the Cup Series. The next highest in top 5s is 9 with Larson and 11, or with Larson and Denny Hamlin. Reddick's got 11. And the next highest top 10s, Reddick has 17. The next highest are Christopher Bell and William Byron with just 13. He is shattering drivers in terms of sheer consistency, also leading 472 laps. Chase Elliott's got a pretty similar average finish at 10.5 to a 10.6, but Elliott's only led 213 laps. So Reddick is checking off every possible box you could ask for right now. He's got 2 wins. He's got the regular season points lead right now by, I think it's 10 points over Chase Elliott. Yep, 10 points over Elliott, 28 over Hamlin. He might go down if he holds on to this, which the way he's running, there's no reason to suggest he doesn't. But he could be the most shocking regular season champion in the history of the regular season championship so far. But he's absolutely earned it. He and 2311 have made such remarkable strides for such a young team and a young driver. Bubba Wallace might make the playoffs, might not this year. He's currently the 15th seed, but he's running better. He's been pretty good on average, and Reddick is absolutely taking that next step. The next thing he needs to do is just close out these races. We've talked about it. Hamlin's talked about it before, but last year we were talking about Reddick needed to close out races, and the issue was he would have race winning speed and a penalty would send him back to 15th place finish. Now when we're talking about him closing out races, it's he should win, and instead he's finishing 2nd or 3rd. This is definitely a good problem to have. It's not easy to win these races, and there's no reason to believe that Reddick can't pull off 3 more wins this year. I had him winning 5 races this year. I actually had him winning this race. I didn't make a prediction last week because I was so caught up in the issue with Austin Dillon, but I do have proof before the season started. I picked Tyler Reddick to win this race, so I'm 2 for 2 in races that he's won this year. I just missed the mark on another one. But Reddick is, we knew what he was capable of when he went to 2311. He really showed promise with Richard Childress Racing, specifically in 2022. It was pretty hard to win 3 races in a year for RCR, but Reddick did it in 22, and he's just continued to get better and better. I think the playoffs last year were really kind of a coming out party for him. Not that he was, making crazy moves, leading 500 laps or anything like that, but he started at Darlington with a great run, finished 2nd, followed it up with the fastest car at Kansas, and he took care of business, and he won that race at the end. And he's just rode a wave of consistency that he has really needed to show, and he's taken it all the way to the Cup Series points lead, 24 races into the 2024 season. Really impressive stuff by Tyler Reddick. I think if he's not a championship threat for you right now, you're doing yourself a disservice. There's not a lot of drivers right now that I would pick to go to Phoenix over Reddick. I think him, Larson are probably the 2 front runners for this championship as it is, just because Larson, he's leading so many laps, he's got so many playoff points, he's got 28. Reddick is just, like I said, riding this wave of consistency. He's had 1 bad race since Memorial Day, and it was Iowa where he finished 22nd. So he is doing everything he needs to do to potentially walk into Phoenix with a chance to win a championship for Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin. It would really be an incredible sight to see, but it is not out of the equation at all. Looking at the playoff standings right now, things changed up a little bit after Michigan. Obviously, the cut line is still really, really close because Austin Dillon's win didn't count, and now The three guys that are battling for the last two playoff spots, Chris Buescher, Ross Chastain, and Bubba Wallace, are all right up against each other. Bubba Wallace is actually 1 point out. My apologies. I'm looking at Racing Reference, and for some reason the point standings aren't updated after Michigan, but if you go to the race page, they do have them right. So Buescher has the 15th seed right now. He's 15 points ahead of Chastain, who's 16th, and Chastain is just 1 point ahead of Bubba Wallace, and they're 12th, 13th, 14th in the point standings. And anyone else beyond them, Kyle Busch, Chase Briscoe, Todd Gilliland, Michael McDowell, they need to win. Simply put, Kyle Busch is the next closest guy, and he's 93 points behind Chastain. You're not going to make that up points wise in 2 weeks. You have to go out and win one of these two races. So that's as simple as it is. We have, I think it's 12 winners so far this year. Looking at it, Truex, Gibbs, Busch, and Chastain. Yep, we've had 12 drivers locked into the playoffs. Obviously, Austin Dillon's the 13th winner, but he's not in the playoffs. So we're gonna have two drivers make it in on points, and Martin Truex Jr. has a 76-point advantage over Chastain. He will likely lock up a playoff spot at Daytona if there's not a new winner. Even if there is, he's probably in pretty good shape. Ty Gibbs had a really good run that he needed at Michigan. He's now 39 points ahead of Bubba Wallace for that last spot. So he's in good shape. He just needs another solid run. And what they're really hoping for is a guy like Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney to get the win at Daytona. Just no new winners, just nothing crazy happen. And those two should be fine going into the playoffs. But next week we do have Daytona, the summer Daytona race. Last year, this was arguably the race of the year. Stage 2 in particular, I remember, was absolutely fantastic. It ended with that crazy wreck with Ryan Blaney pounding the outside wall about head on. Ryan Preece had the unbelievable flip as well. So I kind of laid out the point situation. I don't think we're going to get a new winner today or this weekend. Um, I think this Ford typically is the team to beat on the super speedways. They've won the past couple Daytona 500s before this year. William Byron won it. Tyler Reddick won Talladega. Toyota's finally starting to get some next gen wins on super speedways. They've been shut out for the most part this year. But I think we're not going to get a new winner, like I said. I'm going to go with Ryan Blaney to win this race. He's always the guy you have to contend with on super speedway races. I think he's been running pretty well for the most part. He's pretty mad after what happened at the end of Michigan. Him and Ellie got together. So I think he's going to turn around and get his third win of the season at Daytona. So that is going to do it for the Harry Loomis show. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know who your pick is for Daytona. And we'll talk to you again soon.
This is the Harry Loomis Show.